What if I told you that the world's most subscribed YouTuber, Mr. Beast, one of the most successful investors in the world, Warren Buffett, and one of the wisest characters cinema has ever produced, Rafiki from Lion King, have all unknowingly learned something from Krishna? I'm not using this as clickbait. Stick around till the end to find out how. Krishna has been a very big part of my life. Having studied in a school supported by ISKCON, not a day passed where we didn't chant the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. As I've grown older, my interest in him has only deepened. I have read various interpretations of the Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita, and the Bhagavatam. Here are 3 lessons that I've drawn from him that have really helped me in life.
The 16th.
I don't look at it like that because, whenever I'm at my peak mindset, I think of one ball at a time and one over at a time. If I think of the overall picture too early, I give on to the pressure and I try too hard sometimes. So this was what was working for me.
Bumrah in this video from the T20 World Cup final is talking about how if he had thought about anything but the next ball when he was bowling the crucial 16th over, he would have been overwhelmed and unable to perform his best. Interestingly, this is exactly what Krishna tells Arjuna in chapter 2, verse number 47. And focus on your duty and not the results, right? Which essentially brings us to lesson number 1. Focus on the process, not the outcome. I was an overweight kid, and the journey to lose fat and gain muscle has been filled with ups and downs. Throughout this journey, I have received many comments about how fat I was, how thin I was, or how not muscular enough I was. And the only thing I've done is to smile, nod, and move on. What has helped me navigate this journey is breaking it down into simple processes. Getting the right diet, sleeping enough, and the right workout. Many who started on this journey with me were so obsessed with the outcomes that they've given up. And I completely get it. Our world is obsessed with outcomes. Outcome is an Instagram reel, and process is a 3-hour-long podcast. Krishna's life is filled with joys and sorrows. He experienced the happiness of friendship and the pain of loss. However, he approached both the situations with equanimity. When his own Yadava clan was destroyed due to infighting, Krishna accepted it as a part of the divine plan and remained serene, recognizing the impermanence of the material world. Krishna knew that the destruction of his clan and even his own demise were destined. He didn't resist or lament these events, but accepted them with a calm mind, understanding them to be a part of the cosmic order. Similarly, in chapter 2, verse number 48, Krishna tells Arjuna, be steadfast in the performance of your duty, abandoning attachment to success and failure. This equanimity is called yoga. And that brings us to lesson number 2. Embrace everything, be attached to nothing. Personally, I've been more accustomed to handle failure, both academically and in sports. But the last few years have been particularly kind to me. I've done fairly well at work. I managed to complete a 1-year executive education course at Stanford that culminated with a speech there. And I've traveled more in the last 2 years than I have in my entire life. And while I've enjoyed all of this, I keep trying to remind myself that this will change. Because, a good road trip in life isn't about traveling on a monotonous road, right? It's about having a journey with ever-changing landscapes. I have always been terrible handling feedback. Feedback or a comment on my work or something I've done always felt like an attack on me. This got me deeper into understanding the world of neuroscience and how our brain works. As Homo sapiens, we've succeeded as a species quite quickly. About 10,000 years ago, we were still roaming around the jungles. Unfortunately, our physiology hasn't evolved as quickly. The first part of our brain to respond to any change is our limbic system, specifically the amygdala, which is responsible for determining our fight or flight response. That is it time to fight the tiger or is it time to run away from the tiger? Now, this is great when a tiger is about to attack you, but not so great when your boss is giving you feedback or a earful at work. The key point here is how our brain tends to blur the lines between what we own and what we are. Whether it's a scratch on my phone, some damage to my favorite cloth, or harsh feedback at work. I keep trying to remind myself that these things are mine, but they are not me. This perspective helps me stay calm and handle this situation or the feedback more constructively. So let's come back to Mr. Beast, Warren Buffett, and Rafiki and go through the 3 lessons again. Starting with Mr. Beast.
The thing is, it's all knowledge. It really is. And like every time I say this, people debate it to the end of time on Twitter, but I don't care. Like I could start a new channel tomorrow with not using my face or my voice, like without ever promoting it. And in 6 months have 20 million subscribers. I just could.
Mr. Beast is so sure that he can replicate his success because he's confident of his process. He's obsessed with making every video the best possible, learning from every video and continuously improving his process. Which brings us to lesson number 1. Focus on the process, not the outcome.
The proper temperament is far more important in successful investing than points of intellect. I mean, if you've got a reasonable intellect and the right temperament, you'll get very rich. And if you've got the wrong temperament for it, you'll get done in at some point.
The most important quality for an investor is temperament, not intellect. Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett says this with the understanding that the markets will continuously go up and down. But if you want to make money in the long run, you need to know how to keep your emotions on check. Keep yourself in control. That effectively brings us to lesson number 2. Embrace everything but be attached to nothing.
Oh yes, the past can hurt. But the way I see it, you can either run from it or learn from it.
This quote from Rafiki comes at a time when Simba is unable to move on from his past. But it wraps up very neatly with lesson number 3. That is, what is mine is not me. My past is mine, but it is not who I am. If Simba continues to let what he has done define him, he'll be unable to achieve whatever he's supposed to at the end of the climax of the movie. These 3 lessons from Krishna have really helped me navigate the road trip of life better. Feel free to share what you may have learned in the comment box below. And if you're as curious about life as I am, do feel free to subscribe. We'll try to learn from Krishna and many other great beings.